If you create anything of any kind, be that writing a daily newsletter, a weekly newsletter, or a podcast of any frequency, or even creating photographs, artwork, any other kind of thing, is it better to make as many as you can or just make really good stuff? Something that has been, I would say, bothering me since I started this daily podcast endeavor is the idea that on some days, the thing that I put out is not going to be great. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be the best quality. It may be good enough for the day, for the what I can do in that day, but it doesn't reflect the best of my work. And I've struggled with that in the 100 plus days that I've been doing this. But some time ago, I stumbled again upon this story of how a ceramics teacher divided their class into two groups. One group was told that they will be graded only on the quantity of the work, while the others will be graded on the quality of the work. And at the end of the day, he found out that the people who were in the quantity group had the best quality work over the people who were in the quality group. And it made me think about this podcast. And I touched on it a bit in the previous episode where I talked about how I know that not every episode of this podcast will be perfect or great or amazing, even though I might put in my best and try like the best that I can every day. But I don't think that I'm going to produce 365 episodes of perfection, of coherent thoughts, of interesting ideas, of things that people can relate with. And reading this parable story illustration made me accept that and become more comfortable with that. I think of people who were doing YouTube earlier, or even the early days of writing or recording a podcast. I've talked a lot about how when I read things I wrote on my old blog, I'm like, who was reading this? This is so bad. Sometimes some of it was so bad, but some of it was really good. Like there was such clarity of thought that even now I'm like, who was that person? Who wrote that? And but there's some things I read, I was like, oh my god, this should never see the light of day, or this should have never seen the light of day. And it makes sense, right? It makes sense that the more you do, the more you learn, and you can improve from what you've done in the past. I was also reading in the psychology of money. Just a note, I'm going to refer to the psychology of money a lot in the next couple of episodes because there's so many interesting ideas in the book. But he was also talking about how people think of people who, and when I say he, I mean Morgan Housel, who's the author of the book. He was talking about how art collectors who had outsized returns, and even VC firms who had outsized returns. It wasn't really a thing of picking like the best quality art, because they asked them like, how do you find the best quality art? How do you know what to pick? And they were like, we just buy as much as we can and then we see what is the best. And it's just like an amazing thing. It's like just keep throwing shots and something will stick. And it seems so antithetical to conventional wisdom. Conventional wisdom is like, you need to be careful, you need to take your time, craft things, craft that, and even think about it in the context of applying to jobs. Everyone is like, pick like one or two companies, create a really personalized application, make everything so unique and special for them, which I've not always agreed with. I think that the like both things can coexist. You can just like spray and pray for your job applications, and then for the ones where you feel really great about, then you can spend some more time personalizing and creating things specific and unique to that organization. But the idea that quantity, having like a large quantity of things is bad, hasn't really sat well with me in that context. But somehow in the context of recording a podcast is is sitting well with me. Maybe I should record less and just publish really good stuff all the time. Which is funny because I think even if you decided to take your time and maybe publish only one episode a month or a quarter, some episodes will still not be that great. They'll be good enough, they'll be just okay, but everything wouldn't be perfect, high quality, 100% on point. And so I guess the lesson is the more shots you take, the more times you try, the better you become at the thing, the more you learn about what makes things work and what makes things not work, and the more you can adapt, change, and then make even better quality things. And so the same will apply to whether you are looking for a job, whether you're writing music, whether you're creating paintings, sculptures, pottery, photographs, writing a newsletter, writing a book, whatever form of creation that you are engaged in, or creating that you're engaged in, creating Instagram reels, YouTube videos, whatever. Everyone that I know who has done any of these kinds of things, when they look back at the things that they did earlier when they started, it was all like, oh wow, like who allowed me to do this? This is so bad. But not for everything. There were some things even then that were like, these were really good things that I worked on then. And as you continue to practice, it's like they say everything is a skill. If interviewing is a skill, why is it bad to have multiple interviews? If applying to jobs is a skill, why is it bad to apply to as many jobs as you can? So I think that sometimes we overflog the idea of quality, and we focus on that alone, and we think that if we've not made the perfect piece of something, then it doesn't need to see the light of day, or we shouldn't complete it, we should abandon it and move on to the next thing that will be perfect. But as we've seen from this ceramics teacher example, I will post the link to it in the show notes. We see that, yeah, sometimes you find quantity in the process of making, sorry, you find quality in the process of making as much as you can. And I also think a bit about the idea of how you find passion in the doing. You don't have passion and then you do, and then you discover your passion and your skills and your likes. And it's okay to make bad quality things sometimes. Like, it's not ruining anybody's life. If you're building an aircraft, maybe, yeah, quality is like way important, more important than quantity. But if you're creating, if you're extending your skills, your personal skills, yourself, the length and depth of your creativity, then it's okay to make bad art, to create podcast episodes that are not so great. And yeah, just like I said in the episode where it's like, it's okay to be wrong in public sometimes. Like, nobody's going to die. If nobody's going to die if you're wrong in public, then it's okay. But if is people's lives at risk, please don't be wrong in public. Thank you. Yeah, so thank you for listening to this episode. Bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode of A Couple of Things. If you found anything insightful, interesting, or you enjoyed this episode, please do share. And remember to like, if you can, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Leave a comment, subscribe, so you get the future episodes. Thanks. Before you go, this is a reminder that you can ask me to talk about a specific topic or answer a question that you have by filling the form in the show notes to submit your suggestion or question. Bye.